seconds.
I think we're probably there.
Okay. Let's see. Hasn't come up on the Facebook. There we go. Okay. We're officially live.
Yumi.
Okay.
Is
Welcome,
there sound?
everyone. Um, Today, Caroline is not with us, and I wanted to start off just by saying where she is. So Caroline is currently volunteering in a Caribbean island. It's actually a very small island. It's very remote. So there's, a very basic way of living. But the funny thing about this island is there's only 300 people on this island, and they all got animals. They all got goats, chicken, dogs, and cats, and there is no vet on the island. So actually, I am talking about this also because I've been there and I know the person. She's a British lady who owns the project that she's on. It's like a volunteer opportunity. So she's down in the Caribbean and she's helping to walk dogs and she's hanging out with the locals and she gets to help. I think she's there with another vet, so she gets to help the vet out there as well. And yeah, the reason why I wanted to mention this as well is if anyone's watching this and they would like to live for free at a Caribbean island and hang out and help dogs, they're always in need of new volunteers and more help and more donations. Yeah, I really like this one because you know that all the money goes directly to help the animals on the island. A lot of the animals are chained up, and you help to walk them, make sure they all got water and general vet care and health of the animals. So if you go there, you could probably help them walk the dogs. You get to live for free. You just pay for your food and your flights there basically, and the host is super nice and she helps you with everything, and you'll probably be there with another volunteer as well. So they're always especially needing more vets or veterinary professionals, but even general population who loves dogs are welcome to come and volunteer. It's in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's called Meru Animal Rescue. So if anyone goes online, you see Meru Animal Welfare, and you get the website, and you can just email her or write to us in the comments, and I can give you her email address. As they're always looking for more volunteers or help or donations.
You should put that website on our page after this live.
Sure, yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that. And then I want to welcome our guest of today, our cat specialist. Do you want to introduce yourself, Amaya?
All right. Thank you for having me here. I don't know if maybe you know me better from being president of the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society, but actually my main job is with cats, and I specialize in cats and nutrition. I love working on behavior, and usually my approach is mostly holistic. I work online, English and Spanish, because I'm based here in Mallorca. And my brand is velvet.co.uk. So if you want to have a chat with me, talk about cats, any topic, I will be happy to. And thank you for having me today.
And we're definitely sharing your details on our page after this as well. So no need to write it all down. We will be sharing the links, won't we?
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
put it at the top.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
we have quite a few questions. Well, a few questions about cats today, which I figure is suitable. Should we start on the one of the first one we got? A lot of people are asking about if they should spay and neuter their cat or not, maybe.
Okay. Well, for me, in my opinion, I do not like that we have to do this, right? I'm not in favor of actually neutering or spaying, but I do believe that the circumstances that we have nowadays, with most of the cats being indoor, well, at least in Spain, there's differences in different places, but we don't have a control situation on how we manage cats. Or I think it's improvable. I don't know if that's the word actually, but I think that we have to do it, and it's an act of responsibility. But I think also we need to be aware that we have to do better in the future, so we don't have to make these decisions because it has an impact on their health, on their behavior, on everything. And we need to keep searching and looking for different solutions. But nowadays, it's necessary.
especially with a lot of cats being outdoors, and they're just, since they're spontaneous ovulators, they can have babies at any point. So you kind of have to, if you want to keep them outside, you kind of have to. That's the
Yeah, you
Exactly.
do.
And indoors as well, because they have a dynamic inside a home that it's very territorial in the way. So it also can cause it can be a trigger for stress if you don't know how to manage that. So it's not about, oh, I know it's our hormonal health, yeah, but if the hormones are not controlled in their environment, and you don't make you don't have a routine that includes that, or the diet or other things, then you're probably going to cause more stress by not nurturing them and having them indoor as well, than if you have them spay or neuter.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's not just the hormones, it's not just anything with the cats, because in a way, I have a friend that usually says that we kidnap cats in our homes, and we have them kind of inside, and this happens a lot in Spain. I know in UK, for example, they do go outside, but inside a home, there's a lot of issues that we are not addressing or actually normalizing. And I think we need to understand the cat better to make better decisions in the future, because I think it's possible, but it takes a lot of work.
And can I just sidetrack for a second? Just ask why, because I actually realized that a lot of Spanish people keep their cats indoors, like when they're not strays, they're living indoors. Is it because you have so many strays, or?
Well, in Mallorca, it's a mess, to be honest. Actually, there is I have a how do you say, a loan? It's a place where, yeah.
Like
and it's full of cats, and those are neutered because, you know, all the neighbors around usually take care of them. But so we have those colonies, you know, feral cats, and but the problem is that people maybe adopt a cat and they abandon, and then the colony starts mixing with non-neuter and neuter cats, and that usually ends up in a lot of unwanted litters, and that becomes a problem, and it's very bad in Spain. But also the new welfare law actually says that cats should be kept indoors. Yeah, I don't like it.
It's just occurring to me as we're speaking, because we talked about before how the approach to neutering is mainly a sort of cultural bias. You know, in some countries, particularly in Scandinavia, neutering dogs particularly is considered unethical or even illegal, whereas in America it's considered the responsible thing to do. But in a way, I think the approaches towards cats also vary enormously depending on where you are, because in some places it's considered like reckless if you let your cat outside. Like if you care for your cat, you keep them indoors. Exactly. And in other places it's considered cruel if your cat doesn't get to go outside.
Exactly. And here they haven't, when they wrote that law, actually they didn't think about it. They just simply said they have to be indoors, and there's no science backing that up. But it is because there is we don't have all the colonies controlled, and there's not enough money. That's not the correct word, because it's always money, but there's no will to do it. So it ends up to be, you know, I think it ends up affecting the cats, but nobody really cares.
Are there charities around where you are that neuter feral cats, for instance, or things are being done but just not getting on top of the problem by the sound of it?
Yes, I mean there are, but financially it's always kept with you know, I don't know if this goes the same in other countries, is where they go on they need to how do you say this word, like you know, many companies just go put themselves forward to be the company that does all the nutrient, all the bed for all the governments around. So those once that is settled, most of the small local towns around, they all pay that facility to do everything. The problem is that that facility it never, it can never keep up with all the cats or the dogs, because it's not just cats, it's dogs, it's horses, sheep, anything. It's all the animals.
Oh, yeah.
So there are others, but the financial perspective, they don't receive. I mean, they are sustained by only by donations. So it's impossible to keep up. I think there are a lot. I mean, I actually collaborate with an animal shelter, and they are constantly going to this facility to rescue cats or dogs and just put them on adoption, neutering them. But it's all coming from donations and their own money, and that is all. So it's not well organized, I think. And I believe that there is a educational thing that we need to. I don't think we are very well educated to be pet parents. So unless you are watching all these shows and podcast, and you are not aware, and I've noticed that I actually did a vaccination campaign for all these people, and I was telling them, you should do this and that. It was like, everything was so new. I mean, the most basic things that I am aware of, it was completely new for them. And then I realized I've been working so in other levels that I haven't realized where other where the people that simply found a cat, or they are not aware. There's a lack of education in that point.
Yeah.
So I made it a little bit my next priority to again start from the basic, from things that we assume that it's normal, right?
And I think it's important for anybody, well, it's important to take responsibility for your own health and your children's health, but also to be an informed pet parent and inform yourself about your pet's health. But maybe we're better at doing that for dogs than we are for cats as a general thing, I would suggest. We have lots of questions for you, but could I just ask, as the current president for the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society and someone who, as a vet who's particularly into cats, you have to tell us how we should feed cats.
Well, they are the true carnivores. So actually, I always smile about this. I laugh about this because people, most of the people, members, and everyone, it's focusing on the diet for a dog and raw feeding a dog and everything. And I'm like, always, you should start with the cat. Actually, the cat is the true carnivore. His physiology, everything works better with meat. And there are so, again, the same thing with the other topic we were talking about. There are things normalized in cats. We normalize how they should look, the shape, the body weight, their body score. We normalize that they vomit. We normalize and there are so many things with behavior the same that makes it very complicated for a pet parent to actually question it and say, oh, maybe, well, a true carnivore, but this this kibble says that it has 60% of protein. That's it. It's carnivore. It's okay. And it's very difficult for them, but they are the true carnivores, and they should be fed raw or maybe cooked, but raw is the best option.
So maybe we should answer this now. I actually just had a live on my Instagram with Amaya. Just, was it last week or early this week? Yeah, early this week. If anyone wants to see it, but I think it's worth mentioning here as well, because I think there's a few main issues for people feeding their cat raw. I think one of them is, because cats needs to eat so many times a day, how do I put the raw food out, and how long can it stay out, and how do I feed it that many times a day when I go to work? How many times a day do they need food? I think is one of the biggest questions if you want to start answering that.
Yeah, and well, I would love to say there is an easy answer for all those, but There's not. Cats are, I'm going to start with this. It's going to be a little bit difficult for people to assimilate, but cats are actually very adaptable. Their circadian cycle actually adapts to the human, and they're capable to, they're always going to be active dusk and dawn, you know, those are the moments. They are crepuscular animals, but they will adapt to your routine. So the amount of times that you feed them, if you feed the proper food that doesn't cause any anxiety or anything, you know, we're talking about raw, of course, or high protein food, you can feed them an amount of times that fits your schedule. But if you're transitioning, if you are if you are switching from that ultra processed food to that, this is the most difficult time, to a natural diet, it's very difficult, because the cat is going to challenge you not only from their normal behavior, but also from the addiction that they are suffering from the kibble. And if you look at addiction from the human perspective, you will see that addiction takes at least 6 weeks to start, so you can start changing. So we're talking about neuroscience. It's not about you know, oh, my cat is picky, selective. There is always a reason behind it, and usually the pet, the guardian is the one to blame. Is something to do with your own dynamic, your own way, your routines, and what you are doing. Because if you realize how in automatic you live, you know, you go do things and stuff, and you move, the cat gets a predictable pattern from it, and then, you know, they're going to ask you all the times that they see fit to ask you for the food. And they are very well, they're really good manipulators. You know, they're going to find a way to seduce you, and that's their charm, and that's what they do. But you are provoking that. It's not them. Because if you set boundaries and you start being more present with your cats at home, and also having a structure in your life that doesn't have to be fixated and, you know, perfect, but it has to be present, and you have to be aware where you are, you can feed them anytime. I go on holidays. You know, I had to work on it, because it was difficult for me when I transitioned them to a different diet. It was a challenge. Actually, one of my cats took me 6 months to transition them, but I realized on that process that if I was making sure they feel safe, making sure that I had the right plate, making sure I had a schedule of being present, and finding, you know, and actually looking after those small details, I got much better results. And I discovered as well, since you asked about how long you should have the raw food outside, I discovered that my cat actually likes it really bad.
Really?
I mean, even even if I warm it up, I try so many things, but he likes it to leave it there, ferment. I don't know what he's waiting for, but he loves it. So I'm not taking it away from him. What I've done is, you know, if you had it on, or if you have the plate on the floor, that's a very contaminated place, right? So I simply put the plate on a higher on the counter. So if he wants that meat, disgusting meat, then he can have it any other time. So but my other cat will have it cold, warm. She doesn't care. She just wants it fresh at the time. Doesn't matter. So you need to know who are you living with. You know, what is their personalities and what they need, and look at your own. What do you do when you get home? Are you in automatic? Are you always asking for them to love you and to hug you and demand things? if you're asking for, if you're demanding them, they are going to demand you. And they're going to be very picky, and they know how to do it much better than you do. So.
But I think it's a really good point. It's best to be prepared and to expect it to take months to transition your cat's diet, because lots of people will say, oh, I tried it, they don't like it, and they've offered it for a week, maybe two, and they don't like it, and that's to be completely expected. And I think, I mean, in my book I say that you can't be more stubborn than a cat, but you can be more patient than a cat, you know. So if you keep offering and you keep offering and you keep offering, and you do it in a simple way that doesn't take a lot of hassle for you, so that you're not going to give up even if it takes 3 months before they actually taste what you're putting out for them, and then throwing away. You can be more patient.
Yes, and there are so many ways to do it. What you say, that try it over and over again until they feel safe about the food that you're placing. You just put, let's say, you don't even have to buy any raw food or any brand. You just simply, you know, stick a chunk of chicken near the food that you're giving, and they're going to normalize that chicken is there until they feel safe to grab it. And also you know, there's another question I've been having these clients this week. They said, oh, I started giving them raw meaty bones, and you know, the cat is eating it so well. The next day she said, oh, I was too happy, you know. The next day he didn't even touch the bone. And I said to her, I said, if you were giving something you have to work on and something already prepared and easy to eat, what are you going to select? Are you going to work hard every day, or are you going to, you know, we are no different. If it's comfortable, the cat is always going to look for the easy thing. So do we. We do the same thing. So when you understand that, then you challenge them to, again, okay, you're not going to eat anything else, and you're just going to have that raw meaty bone, and you're going to see how they are going to take on it. Or you make it fun and you start playing with that raw meaty bone, so they, you know, they get engaged, and then, you know, the instinct comes up, and then they will eat the bone. So with cats, and you are never going to be bored if you allow yourself to be challenged by them.
Yeah, I mean,
it's always a solution.
I'm in this problem right now because I just moved back home. My mom's been feeding the cat ultra processed food its entire life. It's like 6 years old, and I'm on month probably 4 now of trying to transition to raw. And I've still, she's eaten a couple of small pieces of raw chicken, but then I have like pre-made food that I prepare for her every single day on the plate, and she doesn't eat it. Like, no matter what I do, I mix it, I put it next to it. Sometimes she doesn't even eat anything if it's even near her normal ultra processed food. Like, yeah, I can totally see why people are frustrated with this, because oh my God.
I mean, it is very frustrating. And the other thing is that I said before that you can challenge them not to eat for a long period of time if you have the bone. But actually, I've realized that when cats are already on raw for at least a year or something, you know, you're making sure that, or their system is working as a carnivore, then it's not problem. There's no problem for them to fast. So they can have longer fastings that with ultra processed foods. So you can play with that. But if you are on a transition, you have another challenge to sum up, because they are still going to be at risk of that liver lipidosis to have to come, because they are still managing carbohydrates and fat in the wrong way. Well, it's not wrong, it's slow and not efficient. So
so you're basically saying that a raw fed cat does better like fasting for a little while than one that is eating ultra processed food.
Yeah, and actually I've tried with my cats. I've tried to feed them only once a day, or maybe twice. And of course, I take this usually on during summer, because during the summer when it's very hot in here, nobody wants to eat anything. So I try to, you know, to make it only 2 meals a day, but in the winter I have to do 4 because that's the amount of food they need and they want, and actually they eat much more during winter than in summer. So those things are going to be for some people are very difficult to manage, and I understand, but when you start that process you get to learn about your cat a lot. And for me it's worth it.
But also the important point about this is that the wrong way to try to transition your cat, or to force the transition if the cat seems to be unwilling or you feel it's taking too long, it's not safe to just starve them and say you're not going to get anything else until you eat the raw. That is absolutely not the way to do it. You shouldn't try to be more stubborn than your cat. You should be more patient, and you'll win in the long run, but you can't starve them. Yeah, and they can become very ill that way. Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to ask.
But Tina, if you want to make a between you two a challenge, and we transition your cat and you post the progress, I'm happy to help you out.
Yeah, sure, that would be interesting. She's sorry, I have to say she's very picky.
All cats are very picky.
So I have to ask you then, Amaya. So what's a normal body condition score look for a raw-fed cat versus someone who's on ultra-processed food?
Well, when you look at the scores that we have, you know, that beautiful poster in picture, you notice that cats have a very thin abdominal waist, and then they have really good thighs, which is not really shown on those posters. But I think they need to look more as the wild felines look, the big cats look like, more than what we are used to, because we are used to having them like a small, I say like they're like 2 circles on their body, yeah, circle, or like, and then very thin thighs, and that is very dangerous actually for their health. They need to have really good thighs, really good muscles, you know, build up muscles on their extremities, and then very thin abdominal waist. You know, that usually they get that. I'm forgetting words today. The primordial bag sac. So usually, you know, when they lose weight, they're going with the with that thing flopping everywhere. But they should be very thin. When you look them from above, yeah, that's worse. Then you see that, you know, they're very thin on the abdominal side, and this is not what it's considered normal. If you look at the conventional medicine, they usually accept that little bubble around the waist, and that fat is really bad. That's for example, those cats cannot fast at all. They should not be fasting. And when they lose muscle mass from their thighs, it's also very dangerous, because if for any reason they are not eating properly, they don't have any backup, anything. They need to eat. They are going to take their own amino acids to fulfill everything, and this is very problematic with kidney disease, for example.
I get this a lot, and especially in dogs. They're like, I changed my dog to raw and now he's so skinny, you know, and I take a look and I'm like, this is what they're supposed to look like. I think it's just like we've twisted our idea of what they're meant to look like, really. So
or I changed my dog to raw and now he's constipated because his stools are all hard little lumps. Yes. And you're saying, well, that's actually what healthy dog poo is supposed to look like. We're just so used to this carbohydrate that's going straight through them. Yeah.
And another point that I see sometimes when I do surgery, because I do flank spay method, and I've done a lot of like spays and neuters abroad versus here and stuff like that, and sometimes in adult cats, sometimes in younger. And what I see is that, you know, when I'm abroad, usually these are cats that are out catching mice and birds and whatnot, and like the fat layer I have to go through is almost, you know, it's so little, it's a little cut and it's gone. And here, in Norway, it's even in like 6 months old cats, I have to like dig out so much fat to even get to the muscle. And this is really young cat. Like they don't look fat until you open them up and you see how much fat is there. It's like I'm mortified.
And that abdominal fat is bad in any species.
Yes. Oh gosh, this is a great conversation.
Amaya, can I ask you, are there any cats that you would hesitate if someone hears about this and wants to transition their cat? Are there situations where you think maybe don't? You know, if the cat is too old, or if the cat has kidney disease, or would you say that everybody will do better on raw if it's done?
Well, healthy cats, I would say, even I would not say 100%. Healthy cats, I would say 80-90%, because there's always, no, I don't believe that the same food is good for all animals. I do believe that natural ingredients are key, but I do have cats that eat cooked food instead, and they assimilate that better. Despite of what you can see about science, or the availability of protein, or anything that you read about nutrition, I have animals that will go much better on cooked food instead of raw. And on chronic ill cats, it depends. It varies. It's actually very difficult to have a percentage, because I do have cats with, for example, pancreatitis or all digestive issues that really do much better on raw, but it's always a modified raw. It's not the normal. Sometimes you have to do some adjustments to them. Then kidney disease, I don't have a problem with kidney disease until the stages are 3 or 4. So I usually go to raw. And all cats, usually, if they're healthy and they're not suffering too much from the same thing, I mean, I try, but then when I'm trying on a chronic ill cat, if the transition becomes difficult, I will I will find a way in between, maybe not transition it full to raw, because I'm very aware of the stress and the fasting and all the things. So when we're talking about chronic ill cat, it's very particular for each case. I would not know or dare to say what would I do.
But I think that's always the case, isn't it? When you know what you're talking about, and you treat holistically, and you're looking at the individual, every answer starts with "it depends." That just proves that you know what you're talking about. There is no one size fits all. Yeah,
exactly.
Now we're on the topic of stress, because we're talking a little bit about like how you should introduce a cat into a household full of already animals and families and stuff like that, and especially maybe in adult cats, when you take over an adult cat to make them fit into the home and stuff. And I know you do like sound therapy and some stuff as well, so maybe you have some good tips on that.
Well, the first thing I would have to say about introducing a new cat is think about it through. And do not allow your emotions to be in between, because I see this much more often than I would like to, is that, my cats are old. I'm afraid that they are going to pass. So I'm going to bring a young one. I'm going to justify this, saying that it's going to bring life into the house, and it's going to be a mess. It is guaranteed that it's going to be a mess, because that decision was made by your own feeling of lack, like you're going to lose a cat. So it's not the right feeling to bring a cat home. If you have another cat that it's an adult, it's not an old one, and you want to bring another one, I would suggest, I don't mind the age at that time, but you have to be very careful of their personalities. They have to be aligned. So if you have an adult cat, I would suggest to bring another adult. that's the thing. And you have to find someone that it's going to be similar or aligned, or, you know, you can, I mean, some shelters are really good teaching you this. And I worked at a cat cafe in Madrid for 7 years. And we always recommended adopting adults, because you know what you get. You see their personalities already formed, even with their traumas, or it doesn't matter. You could see if one cat could fit on another house with another cat. But when you have young, if you bring a kitten, you don't know what you're bringing. And most of the times we are not really good cat parents of kitten. I mean, to nurse a kitten, because if you look them in nature, the mummy, it's really a good mother. They actually nurse them for a long time. They never lose the sight of their kittens, and they're going to be very careful on what they do and what they not. So if we bring a kitten, but then we're going to leave them with another cat that it hasn't made a friend yet, and then you have to go to work and you cannot take the kitten with you, then that kitten is going to find their own ways to develop. And those are not going to be good, because the other cat is mortified that his territory was invaded. He's going to put boundaries in the worst possible way. He's going to just leave me alone. And that kitten is developing, is learning how to understand the world, and they are not afraid of anything. So, you know, they're going to get the wrong signals, and it's going to be very difficult. But if you already have that situation, make sure to nurse the kitten as much as you can. And when I say this, is make sure that the kitten is always feeling your own heartbeat. You need to have them as close as your heartbeat as you can. And they need to feel nurtured, and they need to feel like you play with them a lot. It's going to take you a lot of work, because in the meantime, you need to not neglect the other cat you have, but take time to play with with both cats separately, and give the cat that is here, say, this is okay. I'm going to take care of the excitement of the little one, but I'm going to play with you. And then I'm going to have the other one very close to me, you know, nursing them, having the playtime. Try not to have them too long on the floor if they're very young, because they need to be as close as your pheromones could be, and the floor is not the right place. So that would be my general advice to if you already have that problem. But make sure to always have adults if you don't know. Adults are much easier.
And when you're talking about adults versus old cats, I mean, I have clients coming in and, you know, saying senior because he's 10. What is your definition?
I hate that. It's when you turn 40 and they call you, you know,
Old.
Miss. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking. Yeah, no, I think it's age comes with their personality. It's not about age. Actually, my cat is 12 and he's still a kid in his mind. He plays much more than the young one. So it's not about that. But from the health perspective, they consider senior at that age because they are getting sick more often, younger more often. But I would not. I mean, if you keep really good nutrition and enrichment and everything else, I would start calling them senior at 12, 13, around that time.
Yeah. And would you add any music to that new cat coming into the home floor?
Well, one of the things you can do is sing yourself. I know many people are going to say, I don't know how to sing, I can do it. That's very common, but actually everyone can sing. And the best thing is that your cat is not going to judge you if you start with a lullaby or something very soft, or even if you start humming a song, or even because that vibration, it's going to help on the same, you know, nursing the cat you're having. Even for the adult, if the cat is nervous, but you use your voice as when you're relaxed, you know, even if you sing mantras or if you do anything that you do with your voice, is going to transmit that energy to the other cat. So first of all, you need to calm yourself. But if you start singing, you will calm. You be more relaxed. And once you do that, then you can start trying that with your cat. So I do believe in the power of voice. I think you can use it. First of all, is your identity. Nobody will have a similar voice. It's unique. And then if you use that, connect into your breathing, and you know, you will have a more honest conversation with your cat. And you can even get them to do things. For example, I hear this a lot. My cat doesn't allow me to work because it gets in the middle everywhere. And if you set a boundary and say, if you scream and you say, stop doing that, that doesn't mean anything to the cat. Nothing. Because that's a voice that it's very childish. It's like, yeah, stop it. You know? But when you're very tired of something and you're really exhausted and you say, stop it, I'm not going to tell you what twice. You don't have to speak loud. You don't have to do anything, but your energy, you know, your words have a weight. It's very heavy, and a cat will understand. So I always tell people, don't use your hands like that. Just simply say, this is my place. This is my place. You don't belong here. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So your voice as a music instrument, as a boundaries instrument, I think is the best way you can start. And then you have bioacoustics, which is natural sounds that will provide other frequencies or frequencies you cannot do with your voice, you know, and those can be helpful. But it doesn't work if you use any YouTube song or calming songs, or you need to use a very good equipment. You need to make sure that the recordings are good. The most easy one to use is Music for Cats from David Tay. He has really developed music for cats. It's called like that, and it combines classical music with cello, and the sounds of cats purring, or the sucking noise that they make when they're little. So he combined physiological sounds that they were automatically relax them with classical music, and the improvements were much better than if you only use classical music.
So where do you find that, and how would you use that? I have never heard about this.
I found it. Well, actually, you can look at David Tay's work. If you put his name, Music for Cats, David Teie, he will. He has a recording. He's on Spotify now, and you can use them. You always have to use it with very low volume in a very good equipment. It's not good only from the laptop or the phone. It's best if you have any headphones or anything. And then just
headphones on the cat,
but not near them. You have to just put it in wherever they are. You don't have to hear them. I mean, it has to be very low. As long as they are calm on that, they are going to hear it. You maybe not, but they are going to listen to that. So you adjust the volume and just place it wherever they are, and usually relax them a lot. There are videos on cats, especially on clinics, on practices, where they are more relaxed. And there is a new study now on dogs that when they played classical music, during surgery, they had to use less anesthetic.
I saw that. Yes. So
So
in a sense, it sounds like you're using this sort of very, very low music for cats, almost the way you would use pheromones to just make the area nice. So it could help a transition or help someone settle or just make a nice
make them
atmosphere.
feel safe. In the
Yeah.
end, that's what we're looking for. And then there is a woman here in Spain that she actually travels around the world simply recording the forest, and you can see her like that with with a full equipment sitting there for hours, and she records and measures the frequencies that sound has, and then she uses that for therapeutical purposes in humans mostly, and then she has some for cats. And there is a video on her testimonies that a cat that was intoxicated with I don't remember what product was, but the thing is that the cat had all burned here, and the liver was damaged. No chance was given to her. She said, okay, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna use it and put the sound on the cat and let him die. You know, the guardian was like, okay, I'm just gonna let them die and see what happens. The third day, the cat disappeared, and they thought, you know, she just simply went away to die. And at night, the cat came back having a mice on his mouth. And she went hunting like nothing happened, and she was healed all the way just because of the sounds and how they were placed. The same theory. It was very low volume in a headset near her, and the cat, you know, the guardian was feeding them with liquid because that's the only thing that she could have, and the cat survived. So there are loads of possibilities that we haven't actually discovered yet, but there is a full potential on using sound as a therapeutical tool.
That's very interesting. Maybe we have time for one more question. There was a question about hyperthyroidism in cats and a approach for treatments and stuff like that.
Okay. So it's already diagnosed. It's not how to prevent it.
Well, tell us how to prevent it. That's
people are not gonna like this, but there's a lot of toxicity. The cause of hyperthyroidism in cat is usually the accumulation of toxins in their bodies. So there are toxins that we can see, and we choose different. For example, you can choose different cleaning products, or not using scents that are artificial, or any fragrances, or try to keep it as clean as you can. But there are some other things that you cannot control, which are the fabrics on the things you have at home, because they all have this substance not to burn,
and
yeah. And then even the cat toys, mostly everything is plastic. So we already have a contaminated world in the food and in the water, and we have to be, so there are so many things to look at how a cat can get toxins from. There is a study that says that cats have 14 times more toxins that any other person living in that house. So they have a good talent to absorb all those toxins. And not only that, they are not allowed to go outside, because one of the reasons they say dogs don't keep that toxins in their bodies is because they go outside, they are grounded, they have the access to nature, and that allows them to detoxify a little bit. But cats don't have that possibility if they are strictly indoors.
Wouldn't it be interesting if there was someone comparing indoor cats to cats that spend at least half of their time outside? That would be fascinating.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna start doing HMA, so maybe I'll take one cat that is indoor and then one who's been outdoors and
measure, yeah.
Or 100 cats indoor and 100 cats outdoor, probably.
That's my dream. That's my dream. I would love to become this woman.
Researcher.
Huh?
A researcher?
Yeah, but I would love to have my own sanctuary of cats and be able to try things that, you know, in a group of cats and clutter completely and say, okay, this is work, this doesn't work, and but well, and if you already, I mean, the cat already has been diagnosed. The first approach I usually don't go directly to iodine, radioactive iodine. What I usually go is try to detoxify. It's very convenient if you can do a mineralogram. It's a study you do on hair that it can tell you how many toxins or heavy metals and everything. So food, you have to improve the food, make sure that it doesn't have any toxins, and you have to be very, very aware of where you have to be able to trace where the food comes from, because anything can be toxic. Make sure to use better feeding bowls, the water, the most simple things. You have to be very careful and pay attention to those. And then, since hyperthyroidism and kidney disease are very related, you need to make sure that their systems or detoxification work. So you can start using plants they're not always easy to feed, but I will reduce inflammation to make sure that everything works better. Then I will start using for example, chlorella or any other, well, there are so many. There are dandelion, there's another one. So you have dandelion, no, is the word? I don't remember. But well, you have milk thistle. You have to use all the resources that you have to clean the cat. It's like clean the cat first, see how that affects. If you have to start a medication, start with the medication and see what happens. If the medication has to, it's the cat is not stable, or you're not managing with nutrition and everything, then you can think about radioactive iodine. But otherwise, I will stick to, keeping the cat clean, because I do have patients with a very low dosage of medication, and that, that they have other natural remedies around, and they go really well.
And what's your thought on like a low iodine diet and stuff like that?
Well, yes, I do. Well, I haven't seen too many problems with the levels of iodine. Sometimes I even try to add, say, let's try and add a seaweed or something, and see what happens. And actually, I haven't seen so much relation between the if it's good quality of iodine, and I mean, you're not using anything processed. I haven't seen a problem with that, but just in case, I keep it low most of the times.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can I say something? Just while we're on the topic of toxicity, there were just two things I really wanted to mention that relates to stuff we've talked about in previous lives that we've done that were in the news in the last week. I just discovered today. The first one was we spoke, I think it was last week when Victoria was with us from Switzerland. We talked about Librela and how it should be used as a sort of last resort rather than the go-to treatment for arthritis. And the Wall Street Journal on the 4th of February, so that's the day before yesterday, brought the news that Zoetis, the company that produces Librela, has had to update their label to add warnings about side effects to include seizures and paralysis. So that's news that was in the news 2 days ago. And wow. Just to say, this is, I suppose, just to say, hear it first at the Holistic Vet Sisters, but also also that this is real. These are really important topics, and it needs to be taken seriously. And if you want to hear about treating arthritis, we discussed this last week. The recording is on the page. And also, of course, if you have a dog who's currently getting Librela, or a cat who's on Solensia, I think it's called.
Yeah,
The side effects are real, and it's important to try lots of other treatments before you go to those drugs. But at the same time, don't just stop and leave your animal in pain. You know, look for other options. That was one piece of news, and the other is the Vet Times on the 31st of January, so in the last week as well, had an article that I actually printed. I've got it here. I'm going to post it on our page as well. It is a study about the chemicals that we use to prevent parasites, and we've talked at length about this in these recordings as well, and about how I would go as far as to say that if you use a veterinary practice that has you on some loyalty scheme to use regular chemicals to, again, prevent worms or fleas, just stop. But what I wanted to quote was the Veterinary Times, as I say, in the last week, had this article. It's called, well, the article's headline is "Urgency Required Over Parasiticides After Chick Deaths." And the study that they quote is a study that was published where they looked at material taken from nests of 103, there were blue tits and great tits. So they took material from 103 birds' nests and they analyzed it for 20 different toxins, and they found fipronil in 100% of the nests. So this fipronil is not allowed. I mean, fipronil in 100% and imidacloprid in 89%. And these are chemicals that have been banned in farming, and it's believed that the remnants that are found now comes from pet treatments. So this is your front line and your advantage, and the stuff that we're regularly putting on dogs and cats, it's ending up in birds' nest. And they found a significant correlation between toxicity demonstrated in a nest and the amount of dead offspring and unhatched eggs. So we're really, really poisoning our world with this stuff. And the beautiful thing is, the current president of the British Veterinary Association, Elizabeth, forgotten her name now, Molyneux, something like that, said, rather than blanket use, we strongly encourage vets and owners to take a risk-based approach to these medicines. So there you have it. In the last week, the president of the British Veterinary Association saying, don't just treat your animals to prevent these parasites. We have to be careful about the toxicity of them. And I really think that's important and amazing that this is the advice from the top now. And I would suggest to anybody who's using these products and who may have veterinary clinics that are still recommending them, that they print the article that we're going to put on our page and they take it to their vet and say, the president of the BVA is suggesting we don't do that anymore. Let's talk about alternatives.
And with cats, just if you have a high risk, make sure to keep the environment control before you apply anything on the cat, because actually fleas, for example, mostly you're going to find in the wood inside of your house or places below the height of the window. Below that, you're going to find the fleas hiding there in warm places, right? So before you think about using so many products on cats, because that's another cause of hyperthyroidism, a way to get toxins in, you have to control the environment, and there are natural options. You don't have to go directly to also using all those poisons, because I don't have another word for it.
Well, they are poisons, aren't they? Yeah.
But you can keep it control and make sure to control the environment if you have a high risk of flea infestation. So make sure to control the environment. That's my goal, because cats hate to have spot-ons on them, anything that has a smell. And we are not asking, even if it's natural, a spot-on, it's that citronella or lavender. It's very it has a very high scent. So I would try to keep it the minimum, and there are natural options you can always seek. So that's a really good. I mean, that's a really good news coming from the vet.
It is, isn't it? I think that's really exciting and really important, and it's nice to have that quote from the president of the BVA. Actually, this is not the way to go anymore. I really think, I hope everybody will quote that, and things can change really quickly. We are, go on.
No, I think in 10 years they will all be like, oh, maybe these three ladies sitting there on the HVS.
Yeah, absolutely. We are out of time, so we have to say thank you very much to Amaya, and we're going to post your details on our page. So if anybody has sick cats or behavioral issues with cats, or just want you to help them transition their cats, or ensure a healthier environment and a healthier lifestyle, you can join the queue right after Tina. And we will put Amaya's details on, so you'll be easy to find. But Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much.